Hi and welcome to today's tutorial where we're going to crochet a wall hanged organizer. I'm starting with the bottom of the organizer, and for this I'm going to create a couple of chain stitches. The amount of chain stitches are going to resemble the width of the organizer. Later I'm going to crochet around these chains. Practically, this means that the width of the organizer will increase with every round. So I'm going to account for that as well. So I'm not crocheting quite as many chains that I need for the width of the organizer, since the rounds will add to the width. So now I'm finished with the stitches and I'm going to start working single crochets for the bottom. When I get to the end, I'm just going to start increasing until I get to the other side of the chain. This way I can work my way back and start crocheting round and round. And I'm going to continue with single crochets on the other side as well. Now when I get to the end, I don't need to increase as many stitches as the last time. Maybe 2 or 3 increases. I'm using the pivot technique to determine how much I need to increase in order for the work to stay flat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the description below, where I'll link to a video where I explain the pivot technique. Like so. And now it's time to create the sides of the pouch. To do this, I'm going to use a technique that allows me to create a neat 90-degree angle when it's time to start crocheting these sides. So I'm going to create slip stitches from the back of my work. And I'm not going to increase here, just work plain stitches. And you can start to see how this will create a nice and pretty angle. We're going to crochet in those slip stitches later. When I crochet with slip stitches, I always leave a little slack so it won't get too tight. And I'm I'm going to continue with the slip stitches around the entire edge. Now let's create a mock stitch using the invisible edge technique. And now it's time to start creating the sides of the organizer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work the back stitches which we created with the slip stitches. I'm going with half double crochets, but you can use any stitch you want. I'm starting with 2 chains to substitute the first half double crochet, and then I'm just going to work half double crochets round and round until I get the height that I want. Now you can see this 90-degree angle that I was talking about earlier. And I'm just going to work half double crochets round and around. Okay, so here's the work so far. Let's try it out. Looking good so far. But I also want to create some pockets and crochet an edge. So to create the edge, I'm going with slip stitches. This will help the top of the pouch to stay sturdy and firm. This is the advantage with slip stitches. They are quite sturdy and help to tighten the edge a bit. And I'm going to work slip stitches around the edge. Now it's time to create 2 loops so I can hang the organizer on the wall. I'm going to start with 8 to 10 chains. And let's attach the chains to create a loop. And I'm working single crochets in the loop. And I'm finishing with the slip stitch, like so. And here's the work so far. Now it's time to create a couple of pockets on the front side. I want to create a couple of pockets for my glasses and AirPods because these are the items that I want to be able to access at all times. I'm going to start with a row of chains. The amount of chains will determine the height of the pocket. This technique allows for a flexible pocket that will help to hold my glasses and my AirPods. And now I'm going to work 2 extra chains to substitute the first half double crochet. And I'm going to work half double crochets back and forth. So let's start with the first row where we're going to crochet half double crochets in every chain stitch. When I get to the end, I'm going to work 2 chains and then turn the work. The 2 chains substitute the first half double crochet. Then I'm going to consistently work in the back loop to create a pattern. And from here, I'm going to work half double crochets and repeat this pattern all the way until I'm satisfied with the width of the pocket. After a while, you can see the pattern emerge. Here is how it looks so far. And as you can see, it's quite flexible and allows for items that are quite bulky. So I'm just going to continue this pattern back and forth. And remember to create 2 chains in the beginning of every row. Now I'm finished with the pattern and I'm going to create some slip stitches to tighten the edge a bit. I'm not being super specific here, but a rule of thumb is 3 slip stitches every time the pattern repeats. And now I'm going to create the bottom of the pocket. For this, I'm using the principle of progressions, which is one of the 4 principles that I teach and use in all my freeform crochet work. Start with slip stitches and then progress the height of the stitch using the progression technique. I'm using 2 of every stitch here except for in the middle where I'm going to count backwards from the end and see what is left for the treble crochets in the middle. if you want to learn more about the principles of freeform crochet, I will link to a video where I go through the 4 essential principles of freeform crochet. I'm also working on a course in freeform crochet for beginners. So if that's something you want to check out, you can pre-order the course right away or sign up for the waiting list and you will be notified when the course is live. If you've been following me for a while, you might notice that I use a different setting to film this video today. And that is because I'm happy to announce that me and my husband have moved from the city out to an off-grid cottage in the middle of the woods. This is a super exciting new chapter of our lives, and we're starting to find some daily routines without running water and restricted electricity. We have been living here for 2 weeks now, and so far so good. So we're super excited to start our new life with simple living, art, crafts, and being out in nature as much as possible. And if you want me to create videos about the simple life off grid, tell me in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Okay, now the bottom of the pocket is finished and I'm going to attach the pockets onto the pouch. And I'm aligning the edge so it will stay straight. This way the pocket will be a bit baggy and will allow for items like glasses, for example. Now it's time to stitch the pockets onto the pouch. I'm using the blanket stitch for this. And I'm stitching around the sides and the bottom of the pocket. I want the organizer to hold my journal, my iPad, and my bullet journal in the larger pocket, and I'm quite satisfied with the result. And here is the final result. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!